Welcome to Tuesday with Terry, the podcast for getting your mind, business, and life in shape. Hosted by Terry Blachek, one of the original area developers for Orange Theory Fitness, who helped launch the brand from the very beginning. He'll use his years of experience to help you shape up your mind, build strong relationships with your teams, revamp your business processes, and set down the path towards success in all aspects of your life.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Tuesdays with Terry. My name's Terry. I'm your friend, and I am excited to be talking to you live from Austin, Texas, the great state of Texas, where the sun is hot, the barbecue is sweet, and all the drinks are free if you hang out with me. So my name's Terry. I'm glad you're here. I want to talk about perspective. It's interesting, if you remember when you were a kid and it was the first day of school, man, were you nervous, right? And you got dressed up and you got your new lunch pail and you got your new clothes and, your mom got your pictures and you get jumped on the bus and everybody gets a copy of the picture, but you were nervous, right? And then after you go through elementary school and you kind of get used to it and your teacher and all the things, you make some friends. Then what happens is you go to middle school, right? And your first day at middle school, right? You get nervous again, right? You get a little nervous, right? Oh, you get the, ants in the pants, as my mom used to say. You got ants in your pants. You get nervous. And then you go to middle school, and then, you figure out middle school, and then before you know it, now it's time to go to high school. And, when you're a freshman in high school and you got the juniors and seniors, man, do you get nervous? I was nervous when I went to high school as a freshman. Very nervous. Boy, I think back to those times. Those were freshman, sophomore year, tough times, right? It's high school. Any case, you figure out, then you go junior, senior, and then you're kind of the BMOC, right? You're the big man on campus, right? Or you're the big man at school. Man, you got to figure it out. And seniors, right? And you're the newbies coming in, but you feel pretty confident. And then you go to college. And when you make your first trip to college and you're moving in the dorm, man, you get a little nervous. And then 4 years later, you feel pretty confident and you graduate and pomp and circumstance comes on and the move, the tassel, and you're ready for your first job and you go out and you're doing your job search and you get your first job and you get nervous, at your first job again. And so what am I really talking about here? What I'm really talking about is perspective. The reason you feel nervous is because you're getting perspective. And what I wanted to do with you this morning is I wanted to try to have you take a look at your own personal life and give you life questions and some questions for you to think about to give you some perspective. And so the first question is are you taking responsibility for your life and what you really want to have happen? And in order to do that and get perspective, you got to take a look back and you say, where have I been? Why am I here? And where am I going, right? So past, present, and future. And you can do that. You don't have to do it with everything, but you can do it in life. You could do it with your work. You say, where have I worked? Why am I currently working here? And where do I plan on taking my career? You can do it with relationships. Where have my relationships been? Where are they now? And where are we going with this relationship, right? You can do it with your finances. And let me ask you a question. If you had to do it all over again, what would it look like? What is the future that you're seeing for yourself? What brought you even here today to listen to this podcast? What caused you to get up this morning? Did somebody come in and rattle your cage and shake your bed and throw a bucket of cold water on and say, hey, it's time to get up. We got to wind yourself up and let's go? Or are you in the middle of maybe trying to find yourself for what I call your highest and your best use and to find your purpose? You hear Simon Sinek talk about why, right? Start with why. But is that something you're really working on? I wonder if you ever found yourself waking up and making excuses about, the situation you're in. And, many of us or many people blame their parents. I say many of us, but maybe that's me. But you blame your parents, right? The way I was brought up, well, that was just the way I was brought up, hear that all the time. Or, where you live, I lived in the country. Well, I live in the boondocks, or I lived in the city, where is it that you live in? And are you making excuses for that? Why did your last relationship didn't work out? Well, let me tell you, and you start going down that list of all the things and excuses. And let me ask you this, aren't we all really just trying to make a difference, right? Trying to make a difference every day, get better and better in every way. We're trying to make a difference in our life, in our work, in our relationships, with our kids, with others. You know, at Orange Theory Fitness, we talk about changing people's lives. I wish I could play you the recording I received yesterday from a member in Arizona. He signed back up. He'd taken a bit of a sabbatical from working out at Orange Theory, and he signed back up. And kudos to our South Chandler location out there. He complimented Brooke. He complimented Josh. He complimented Michelle. And he said, Terry, he said, if I don't know what you think is going on at your studios, but he goes, I want to let you know that you are delivering a product and a service that is changing people's lives, and it has changed my life. That's powerful. Man, did that encourage me yesterday morning when I listened to that message. So, thank you, Neil. Appreciate you out there, man, in Arizona, doing what you do, living the dream, and making other people believers that they can do it too. So thank you for that message. But what happens is we change people's lives and we try to get in alignment with doing something big to try to influence people or to do something that has meaning, right? It has meaning. And yesterday when I got that message, I've been working hard. I've been putting in long hours. I'm traveling more now than I ever have. And when I got that message, man, I got emotional because it said to me that my work is having meaning. It is fulfilling when I hear that I'm making a difference in people's lives. You have a reason for being here. You don't need an alarm clock to get up. You have a reason for getting up. What is that reason? And if you haven't revisited your reason for doing what you do, for being in the relationship that you're in, for getting in the financial position that you're in, you need to revisit that. Revisit the reason why, the purpose, the meaning behind that. And all I'm saying is take 15 minutes, man. I got up early this morning and I spent an hour and a half prepping and going through a lot of information to put some of these pieces and parts together for the podcast. But my podcast gives me meaning, and the meaning that it gives to me is it is a way for me to give back. It's a way for me to teach. It's a way for me to help somebody else along their journey or along their path. My legacy, if you ask me and you say, Terry, what's the legacy that you're trying to create? The legacy I'm trying to create is I'm trying to help people along their journey in life, their journey in their relationships, their journey in business, their journey in their career. At the end of the day, when people come back and say, man, you helped me do this, you were a stepping stone for me to do this, that is incredibly fulfilling for me. That's my reason. That's my meaning. So when you find out what your meaning is and what you're doing and why you want to do it, let me ask you a question. Who's with you on that quest? Do you have anybody? And what's it going to be like, man, when you look forward? Are your best days in front of you or are your best days behind you? I always talk about my best days are in front of me because I can believe I'm getting smarter. I'm getting better every day in every way. Who are you going to become tomorrow? And after this journey or through this journey, you see, it's not necessarily about the results. It will be about who you become as a person and the character behind it. And what you did along the way. Half of the fun is getting there. How do you stay motivated through all of that too, right? I mean, man, I'm reading this book called It's Messy in the Middle. And everybody gets excited when they start a business and everybody gets excited when they sell their business and they exit. But what about the middle? Man, that gets messy. How do you stay motivated? And so part of that is the ability, I talked about this a couple podcasts ago about trust, and trust starts with you, but do you push and discipline yourself to accomplish specific things? Or are you just kind of coasting along through life hoping that it's going to fall in your lap? It never falls in your lap. I ask you right now today on a scale of 1 to 10 while you're listening to this podcast, how's your personal energy? How's your personal motivation? 10 being the best. What would you tell me? I mean, I'm getting excited just talking about it. How do you measure your motivation? How about your mental attitude? How do you rate your mental attitude? Or your physical appearance? How you looking today? You got a good hair day going on? You're looking sharp? You're looking crisp? You dressed and pressed? You ready to meet the world? I'm telling you, when you look good, you feel good. When you look good, your sales go up. You feel better about yourself. Your self-esteem goes up. What about your environment, your surroundings? You got papers all over your desk, all over your floor? I need to go back and clean up my desk a little bit when I remind myself of that. How are your surroundings? Are they neat, clean, uncluttered? Are they neat and organized? You got a plan, a path? You got a place for things? How about your job, your career? 85% of people are unhappy with their job. How about you? Well, what about your relationships? Are your relationships building you up, or are they pulling you down? Are they draining? And then think about your own contribution to work, your own contribution to your relationships, your own contribution to others. What's the difference that you can make in somebody else's life? And so when your battery runs low, or you're getting kind of down, or you're messy in the middle, as I said, when your battery, what do you do? What do you do? Right? Because we can all talk about, there's tons of books, there's tons of tapes and YouTube videos on motivation. Great one, if you haven't listened to it, is Admiral McRaven, his commencement address to the University of Texas. He talks about 10 things that he learned in Navy SEAL school. It's called Make Your Bed. Man, you got to listen to that. That is powerful. I love it. I share it with my team. I listen to it. I've listened to it a lot, repetitive. Go listen to that on YouTube. Pull it up. Make Your Bed by Admiral McRaven. But what do you do when your battery gets low? Do you have the will to actually make a change? Or are you punch drunk and you're just kind of going through the day? It's time to go make the donuts. You get up, you get dressed, you go to get a cup of coffee, and you get, maybe something that's not too healthy for your eating breakfast. And then you go to work and you get through there and you can't wait till lunch, and you take a lunch break. And then afternoon, you kind of get on a low around 3:00 and you have a cup of coffee and a cookie. And then, you can't wait till 5:00 comes around so you can get out of there, and you go home and you have something to dinner on the way home. And then you go home and you watch TV till 11:00 at night, and you go to bed and you do it all over again. Do you have the will to change? Is your life a matter of just sitting on the couch, watching TV, flipping channels? It's meaningless. Does your heart know that you can actually do more and you're not doing it? And so if that's the case, we're talking about you got to get control of your life. That's called self-mastery. You got to work on yourself. You got to invest in yourself. You said, Terry, invest in myself? What does that mean? You have to put some time and effort into you. It can transform you. You need to read the good books. You need to listen to the good podcast. You need to listen to the YouTube motivational videos. I tell you all the time, I say it all the time, you got to fill your mind with the good stuff. You have to get re-energized, and it starts with your brain. It starts with your thinking. You also need to get on an exercise program. It doesn't need to be the world's best exercise program, but you need to think about activity. You need to be walking, and you need to be biking, and you need to be moving, right? If you like to work around the house, my wife loves to work around the house. And for her, she gets a lot of fulfillment on that, but it also provides exercise and activity. You don't have to have the world's best exercise program and a personal trainer. I'm just suggesting that you start moving and tracking your steps, right? You need to get blood flow moving. It changes. We know this in physics. A body at rest stays at rest. A body in motion stays in motion. Even when you don't feel like it, you do it anyway. And that's called discipline. If you repeat that, you can expect some kind of a breakthrough. I've talked about this before. I've been down many times. I've had adversity in my life. And I do a couple things. Number one, I make sure I get my workouts in. Number two, I make sure that I'm feeding my mind with the pure or the positive. Number 3, I journal. I write my things down. Number 4, I have quiet time, 15 minutes of just quiet time, soft music, letting everything kind of sift through my brain, right? It's a process. It's 90 days, right? And you need to get involved in developing yourself, investing, self-care. Go get a massage. Go get a facial. Go get a manicure, a pedicure. Go buy something nice for yourself. Take care of yourself. You see, too many people have this negative conversation. It won't work. I'm too busy. I don't feel like it. Couldn't make it happen. I failed in the past. That's never going to happen. Why should I even get started? I'm too old. But you got to think a little bit beyond that, because I can tell you story after story after story after story of great people in life that started late in life, myself included. I did not start Orange Theory Fitness until I was 50 years old. And you're 27, you're 32, you're 37, thinking that my life is over. It's not over, man. You got a huge, long, many years in front of you. And why are you settling for what you really don't want? You see, in court, when we go to court, what we do is we settle because why? You believe you can't win. Man, don't settle. Have you made some settlements in your life? Have you made some settlements in your finances, in your work, in your relationships? Don't settle. Get the life you want. Live the life you want. It starts with developing yourself. Where have you been? Why are you here? Where are you going? A couple good questions. And I want to remind you, are you accepting things just the way they are? Are you following the crowd? Or are you marching to the beat of a different drum? A drum that says, I can, I will, I shall, I did. A drum that says, I'm going to take care of myself and I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to invest in myself. And when I get myself right, it may take a month. It may take 2 months. You know this, when you go and exercise, you can't get in shape in one day. You have to be consistent with exercise and good eating, and over time, you get in shape. It's the same thing with your mind. You can't get your mind in shape in one day. It's time. It's investment. It's consistency. Take care of yourself. All I want to suggest is you can win at life. You can win with yourself, get meaning, get purpose behind it, invest, and take time and be consistent with doing the things to take care of yourself, your mind, your body, and your heart. My name's Terry. I'm your friend.